Max Blumenthal of the Gray Zone, right, who claims to be an ultra-communist super lefty, is engaging in some ridiculous stuff. Now, this was a couple days ago, and so I wanted to talk about it, but then I forgot. But, I'll talk about it now since we're on the train of talking about Jimmy Dore and the adjacent losers. Max Blumenthal, in response to New Zealand engaging in a lockdown to prevent another surge of COVID-19 in their country. Well, not another surge necessarily, because this is the first case that they found in like 6 months or so. They've entered a lockdown. Now, we have people in the chat that are from New Zealand, and maybe they can give us some more information here. But Max Blumenthal says, media darling Jacinda Ardern orders New Zealanders to stay in their fear bubbles and not talk to their neighbors because of one positive COVID test. The technocracy recommends communication only via heavily surveilled digital channels. Now, again, the problem with these weirdo, like, posers who pretend to be left-wingers but actually serve the right is that they use left-wing language. Yes, surveillance is a problem. State monitoring of chats between people is a problem. So why don't you advocate for your viewers and listeners to use encrypted channels? Why don't you say, hey, if you want to talk to your neighbor, download Signal? Why don't you just, maybe leave letters in their mailboxes and then, back and forth? Why don't you maybe, wear a mask? And, but that's not what he's advocating for. He is advocating against lockdowns. So we should just let a virus kill people because you want to go borrow sugar from your neighbor and have a 7-hour conversation with them without a mask on? What? But it gets worse. So Walter Bragman on Twitter responds, man, this is a good thing. It's how New Zealand has managed to keep its population healthy, alive, and frankly, living normally compared to us. The U.S. should adopt an elimination strategy. Pay people to stay home. New Zealand did a great lockdown, and they basically have been living like normal for a long time, and now they're going to do another lockdown, isolate the case, and everyone's going to go back to being normal. Whereas in the United States, we never locked down, right? A significant portion of our population is sick and dying. Even now that we have a vaccine, there's a huge amount of people that aren't taking it. Max Blumenthal responds, it's a sick joke to call this or the army on Aussie streets living normally. Meanwhile, the predatory U.S. ruling class is kicking millions off unemployment, threatening them with eviction, and scooping up record profits, not paying workers to stay locked inside their bubbles. Huh? What? This is like a Paula Jean Swearingen moment. Like, did you read the tweet you're replying to? Like, it's a sick joke to call this or the army on Aussie streets living normally. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the whole point of a lockdown, to isolate and quarantine the virus, is so that when there is no lockdown, people are going about generally pretty normally. That's the whole purpose. You lock down now to prevent pain and suffering later. Like, if we would have just locked down, the whole globe would have locked down in January or December, when the virus first started, we wouldn't be living in this world right now. It's the sheer fact that we refuse to lock down, like Max Blumenthal is suggesting, which is why we're in this mess in the first place. The whole fucking reason that you would lock down is so that you can live normally outside of the lockdowns. That's the whole point. And then also, what is this? Meanwhile, the predatory U.S. ruling class is kicking. What does that have to do with New Zealand locking down? Like, is Max Blumenthal an NPC, a non-playable character? Did they, have a glitch in the script? Was there a glitch? Did the wrong dialogue, bubble pop up? What? So Walter Bragman says the U.S. should pay people to stay home so that we can isolate the virus, quarantine, and get this over with. And Max Blumenthal says, meanwhile, the predatory U.S. ruling class is kicking millions of... Yes. That's literally what Walker Bragman is saying. That's literally what he is saying. That's what he's saying, that instead of the U.S. doing that, we should lock down and pay people to lock down so that there's no financial problems. But Max Blumenthal responds with not paying workers to stay locked inside their bubbles. Huh? Like, again, this doesn't make any sense. Like, literally, this isn't, like, this, there's no, like, if you read this and you come out thinking, wow, that's really logical.
Really, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ.
Again, I know, I get hung up on this. The U.S. should adopt an elimination strategy, pay people to stay home. Walker is saying the United States, instead of doing what we are currently doing, as Max describes what we're currently doing, instead of that, we should do what New Zealand is doing and paying people to stay home. And Max has like a weird... Oh, blah, blah, whoa, 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 whoa. What? Let me look at the replies to this. I don't understand this. Makes no sense. Like, the guy's a dumbass. He's a dullard, folks. The motherfucker's a dullard. A premium dullard. Like, you know when you go to the gas station and you get to choose, like, between regular gas and premium gas? I don't know what the difference is. I don't drive a car. But all I know is that Max is a premium dullard. The guy's not all there. He's an idiot. He's a dipshit motherfucker, cocksucker, shitfucker. And he's not that bright. I mean, that's all I got to say. I mean, he's really... Anyway, folks, that is the show.